Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Laura. This is my new channel, Languages with Laura, where I discuss language learning tips and tricks as well as travel related content videos, including vlogging and tips there as well. I am a polyglot who is studying 4 languages. I am studying Spanish, Russian, Arabic, and French, and I will soon be adding German to the mix. So if you like language learning or traveling or any topics related to those, please feel free to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post. Now let's get into today's video topic. So today I'm going to introduce a new 3-part video that I'm going to do, and that has to do with language journals. Now, I say this is the first video in a 3-part series because I will be doing how to start a language journal with a brand new language that you're just starting to study, and we will be creating that together. My next video will be creating a language learning journal for a language you studied a little bit. You're kind of at maybe an intermediate level. You have some basics, but you know there's still a lot more to learn. And then the final one will be for a language that you possibly have been studying for a long time. So this video, I'm just gonna focus on starting a brand new language. You don't know much about it, you're just starting out. So let's create a language journal for a brand new language together. How I like to do language journals is I devote one journal to each language for vocab and grammar and kind of almost create my own textbook for this language in a way that I understand it best. And then I like to have a separate notebook for my exercises. So first off, I'm going to Target to get a new language journal. I do already have a notebook that I'm going to use for my exercises, but I need a new journal to create kind of my own little textbook with. So let's go. Alright, now that we're back home and we have gone through the joys of picking out a new journal, thank you very much to my partner for helping me film that part. I will say it's always good to think about what kind of journal you want. For me personally, this is the journal that I have chosen for German. I like it because it's a spiral notebook, so it's very easy for me to flip it open and concentrate on one page and kind of keep it open if I am practicing conjugations or I need to read through a grammar rule. Then I can just have it open and look at and practice writing my other notebook without worrying about it closing in on me. I also like how big this one is because to me, German with the cases might need a little bit more explanation than some of my other languages, especially with a brand new language. It's always nice to have extra space on a page for explanations and new things. That's why I really liked this journal. And another thing I will say is because German also uses the Latin alphabet, I wanted to go for a lined journal because my native language, English, also uses a very similar alphabet, and so I don't need a bullet journal type. However, for other languages such as Mandarin, if I were to create a language learning journal to pick Mandarin back up again, I would definitely go for a bullet journal type with multiple dots to be able to draw out each character as perfectly as I can in that journal. So keep in mind what language you're learning and what kind of tools you want for that language. Like I said, because I'm doing German in this video, I wanted a lined paper journal. And also, I just thought it was cute. I always think it's great to have a cute journal as well to just be motivated and be happy about it and to uplift your spirits for doing your studying. Now, the first and I think one of the most important things that you can do when starting a new language journal is to, at the very beginning of the book, start your table of contents, because this is what's going to allow you to find specific notes quickly. You don't have to necessarily say page 1 is going to be this, page 2 is going to be this from the beginning, but as you add things into your notebook, update your table of contents. So I already know what my first couple pages are going to be, and I can start writing them here, but I'm not going to try and plan out the whole journal from the beginning. I'm going to add on as I go. Another thing to keep in mind here is when you do start this and continue to add on, also remember to put the page numbers in the corners, because most notebooks, such as the one that I bought, won't come with page numbers. And so it is much easier if you just write your own page number above. And even if you're doing a grammar rule or a set of words or verbs or whatever, and it takes up multiple pages, still write the page number on every single page, and then just in your table of contents, write page number dash number if you want. Or just write the first page number, and then when you enter in your next thing into the table of contents, it can be however many pages later that you start a new thing. I really got this idea from my French teacher in high school. She was wonderful. She had us create a livre de verbes, a book of verbs, and I thought, this is really great and very useful for me, but I think there needs to be more to it. So like I said, I love starting off with the grammar, because even if I'm not studying all different conjugations first thing, it's always nice to know where they are and to be able to see, okay, this is what the present looks like versus what the past looks like versus the future versus a different mood or a different tense, etc. and so forth. So I will start off with the most basic of what I will be learning. So for German, for me, that will be the present verb conjugations. I will devote each page to a different case, because German has 4 cases, so I want to make sure that those are something I study early and have a good grasp on so that I can practice them as much as possible. Then I will continue on with the dual past forms and a future form, just so I can create basic sentences, have a very basic conversation with someone. And then, of course, I will add rules for adjectives, and I have a wonderful little chart for the multiple genders, the male, female, and neuter of German, and I will include those after the cases. So I think about what are the elements of this language that I want to learn first and spend lots of time studying. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some verbs. I'm going to start going in on the vocab. So I already have my present conjugation forms, and so I'll have a couple very common verbs that I'm going to use in everyday, I am, I have, read, cook, eat, very basic forms. And then I'm going to look up the irregulars, and I'm going to devote irregulars to their own section. Especially popular irregular verbs I'm going to be using. Lucky for me, I don't believe German has too many, or at least too many commonly used. French and Spanish have quite a few, but it's fairly manageable. So I'm just going to look up what are the ones that are good for me to learn in the beginning. And this is kind of where I'm going to stop for now and sit and study in terms of grammar and conjugation. Then after that, I will start with a few vocab lists. Again, very basic phrases and verbs and words that I will want to learn. I'm not going to fill up the rest of the notebook with those, because there are so many words and languages, and I really just want to have a spot for the basics, for the beginning of it. Everything else that I learn after that can just go ahead in my exercise notebook. So I still have a place for them and I still have a place to study them, but knowing that there are going to be a lot more grammatical and other things that I need to learn with this language, I want to make sure I save the space in my textbook journal for those other elements. At the very back of the notebook, I do want to have a section for idioms and phrases and sayings such as this. Every language has their own set of idioms and slang, and you can memorize how to say things word by word. But if you're going to travel, it might be really good, or even talk with native speakers, it would be really good to look up slang and idioms. And I even like doing this from the beginning so that I don't get too stuck in my way of literally translating everything. And I can start using idioms to sound more natural and be better understood. I like to devote this in the back of the journal so that they're not randomly in the middle or in between grammar lessons or whatever. I'm not saying to learn every single idiom, but just to have that back page devoted to it. So that is another thing that I will put. I won't necessarily add it to my table of contents because I don't know how I'm going to schedule the rest of the notebook, but I will know that it's there. And so for starting off with a new language, that's all I like to do. I like to end it there and just expand as I go. If I learn more irregular verbs, I'll add more to the irregular verb section. If I continue on with other things, and whatever space I have left over, I can devote to vocabulary. But I want to make sure I have enough space for sentence structure, for conjugations, for gender, and understanding those basic principles that I can apply at the beginning with simple sentences and then continue to practice and grow on as my sentences get more complex and more in depth. So this is how I finish my basic first setup. So these are all the things that I have at the beginning of the notebook and all the things I'm going to focus on until I have mastered all of these. For example, pronouns and basic present conjugation. I'm fortunate because German pretty much follows the same thing, but I have the English, and then I have it in every case because that is something unique to German. I have a model of my conjugation tables of how I'm going to do all the rest of them throughout the book, and then I have an example and I use the present tense as an example. Then down here I have my notes of basic conjugation for German. Very general, useful page to have is a sentence structure page. So I just write different. So these are the sentence structures that I'm going to focus on learning now: a simple sentence, a two-verb sentence, and a negative sentence. So I would fill this in, and then as my sentences get more complex, I have more space down below to fill that. And I continue to have other ways of conjugation, which I will fill out later. And then here is where I will eventually have basic regular verbs. So some of the first verbs to learn, I will have the verb, its meaning, and the conjugation table on the other side as examples. Then I will do the same thing with irregular verbs. I will choose probably 4 or 5 most commonly used irregular verbs, and I will have those here. Now in the future, going forward, when I write down more verbs, I'm probably going to devote 1 verb per page and have every way of conjugating it. So present, past, future, other tenses and moods that German may have. This is just a basic to get me started, but later on I will have specific verb pages. Then I also like to have a page devoted to numbers, so I will do 1 through 20, and then all of the tens, and then hundreds, thousands, pretty much whatever I can fit on the page. The last thing that I will focus on in my first beginning of this will be basic vocab, and I'm going to divide them up into basic vocab 1, 2, and 3, and I'm just kind of gonna do whatever I want to do with that. So that is how I am beginning this new language journal. I am leaving lots of space at the bottom of grammatical pages and lots of space in the rest of the book in order to leave space for the new things that I learn and make corrections and make notes to myself. Happy learning, everybody! There it is. Thank you all very much for watching. Let me know, did this help you out? Have you ever started a language journal before? Did you start one with me? What language are you learning? I would love to chat with you all in the comments and see what works for you. And if you are interested in this, but maybe want to do it for a language that you're a little more advanced in, please subscribe so that when my videos about an intermediate language or a language you are advanced in go up, that you can watch those and hopefully get some very valuable tips from those as well. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Thank you all again very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video soon. Пока!